Excuse me, Sable. Woo, here I am. Hey everybody, welcome to the FrienDish podcast. Today we're talking about red flags. Speaking of red flags, if you're friends with a person dumb enough to make jalapeno poppers and then rub their eye, is that a red flag? I think so. That's what I just did today. This is Bree. Derek is gone for the day, doing a baseball game. Not playing, just announcing. And in his place, we have Pillow Derek. Yeah, he's a pillow over there. And I put a face on the pillow. It's Pillow Derek. Kaitlin is also gone on her birthday vacation. And my friend Nicole is here today as our first ever ghost. Yay!
Hello.
We answer a listener email, play a game maybe, and talk about our food that we made. So yeah. Hi, Nicole.
Hello.
Do you want to start out by telling me what you made today? Because it looks super delicious,
okay.
and I'm going to try it.
So, we decided to go with, spicy food, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I love baking cupcakes. But, unfortunately, these cupcakes didn't rise because, like me, they were very low-ended today. So, I smashed them all up, threw them together in a layer cake style, and they are called the Hot Mess because they are cayenne pepper, Mexican hot chocolate cupcakes. But they're all destroyed now. So, yeah, we're gonna eat a hot mess.
Nice.
I mean, it's kind of representative of, the state of my life right now, so perfect.
Yeah. Whoops. Sorry, everybody. I'm, going back and forth between the producing table and the mic. So, please, bear with me.
Yeah.
We also have Fireball today because we're doing the spicy bits. We're doing spicy episode because we're going to be spicy. We got 2 redheads again. I mean, Kaitlin's technically a redhead.
Well, mine's box dye, so I had to buy mine. But
yeah, mine is also somewhat dyed, but I've been letting it grow out for a while now. So can I try this?
Yeah.
What would you call it? What's it called?
It's like a cayenne pepper, like I said, a Mexican hot chocolate style cupcake. So
Layered cake is what you said earlier,
it's like
I think.
a cinnamony pepper, because it's got cayenne pepper in it.
Okay.
And the chocolate, so.
I'm gonna take a bite, guys.
Yeah. I'll join you so that you're not it's not poison.
Awkwardly eating. I'm gonna try not to chew into the mic.
Yeah, well, we don't need that ASMR today.
Oh my god, it's so good.
So, there's 6 cupcakes in one jar. Just letting you know. Because it's a lot. It will fill you up.
That's good.
There's a burn at the end of it.
It's kind of got this, I can really taste the cinnamon.
Mm. I was a bit timid with it because I just didn't want us to die on camera.
I know, I was dying earlier with my eyeball. It's finally started to, calm down. God, so stupid.
I mean, it's just, you got a little too spicy.
I know. I think I was just picking an eyelash out of my eyeball and then forgot that I was just handling, nuclear waste.
It's happened to the best of us, I think.
Nope. I mean, my first time.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay.
Never again. My face, I just feel really flushed and my face is still red because I've been eating spicy things all day now. Do we want to read? What do we want to do first? Do you want to read the email? Do you want to talk about red flags?
I mean, we could do the email if you want to get that out of the way.
Yeah, let's do it. We did get one a couple weeks ago. Oh, I guess I should really quick explain why the last episode hasn't been uploaded or any of the stuff for anybody who's confused about the situation right now. So the last episode we did, which was episode 10, the one that's up right now is episode 9, is the most recent one we've posted to Spotify. So any of our Spotify listeners are wondering why it's been taking so long to get episodes posted on our end. It's because after episode 9 on episode 10, we had a normal live run on YouTube and things got kind of emotional, and then on my part, I would say nobody else got emotional. I just kind of lost my shit, and this, the struggle was real that day, and I think we just were all debating on whether or not to post it to Spotify to begin with. But I think ultimately we've decided that we are going to post it. We're gonna post it before we post this episode. So, that'll all be explained. But, and then I took last week off because of my mental state. So just throwing that out there. I'm gonna try to be better about what I talk about on the show and like try not to let things get to me so easily. I feel really stupid for having such thin skin, but yeah, so maybe that's a red flag for anybody that wants to be friends with me. Like, just if you're like worried about making me cry. I'm just kidding, Nicole. Please don't leave. I'm not gonna cry, I promise. I didn't cry on last episode either, but I was just like,
it's like stuff still affects you even years after it happens, right?
Right.
So, like,
I think the problem with things were last week I got too specific, or the week before, the last episode, I just got too specific about certain things instead of staying vague and general about things. And so that's going to just be, I think, a challenge for the show. It's not, because it's easy to draw off of personal experiences from your past to use as examples, but that doesn't always mean that it doesn't still hurt or, especially when you're also getting advice from other people. So,
for sure.
And you're just like, I'm not looking for advice. I'm just using this as an example. Like, that kind of thing. So let's talk about the email. Let me pull the email up on my phone real quick. I should have been better prepared. Sorry, guys. Okay. I'll go ahead and read it. This email is from Sassy Topaz, and it says, "Hello, Bree and Kaitlin. I have really enjoyed listening to your podcast. It's one of my favorite parts of my week. I was wondering if I could get your input on something. My best friend and I have known each other since high school. We've taken very different paths since, but remained really close. We've both changed a lot and pursued more interests on our own, making us have a lot less in common. I don't enjoy hanging out as much as I used to because in conversations they tend to go on and on about their new hobbies to the point that I can't keep up. They've pursued a lot of new friends within their new hobbies, which is great, and I'm really happy for them. What is hard for me is that they want me to meet all their new friends, and I have anxiety issues that make meeting new people really stressful. My friend talks me up to everyone, so by the time we meet, I feel like there are huge shoes for me to fill in order to live up to the hype. The times I have met some of their friends in the past, it was really awkward, and we had basically nothing in common to talk about. I feel like meeting me is a letdown from who they were told I am. I know it's not good, but those experiences really put me off meeting new people my best friend swears I will love. I'm not really sure what to do. I don't know if we've changed too much to continue our friendship. I just know that it's hard to have a bunch of one-sided conversations and feel forced into meeting people that I'm not necessarily compatible with. Any ideas on how to approach this in a balanced way? Thanks, Sassy Lemon." That's their
Everything's sassy.
pseudonym. Sassy Lemon.
I dig it though.
Yeah.
I mean, this one's really it's a hard one.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one to.
It's very layered because like just because two people are friends with you, right, doesn't mean that they are gonna mix well. I've definitely had friends that I keep separate because just like politically or whatever, they don't mix, and I know they won't mix. But there's also like with anxiety, you want to try to branch out. And
I would talk to your friend. I would just be like, "Hey, I appreciate you trying to include me, but I'm struggling with like meeting new people so often. Like maybe it's so frequent that it's too much for you, and that's what causes you to have so much anxiety. Also, like the whole filling big shoes thing can be flattering at first, but like." Yeah. I guess I don't really understand because I don't have a friend that's like trying to make me meet new people, but I guess you just never really know what to do with new friends anyways.
For sure.
I mean, I would try to give them more than one chance to be friends with them, but if your new friend is like so proud of you for all these things, I would take it as a compliment ultimately. Yeah. But if you feel like the relationship is like really one-sided and it's just too draining, then maybe just try to distance yourself and be like, I'm busy. Yeah. Nobody can like make you go out and do these things. So just be like, I'm busy.
Yeah. Or even another route is just maybe it's easier for you to meet only one person at a new time because it's like less people. Or maybe there's less pressure if there's a ton of people there because it's like everyone's talking. I don't know. Just you gotta find how your anxiety works with meeting new people, maybe.
Yeah. You could be like dumb me and invite alcohol into the situation to make it less awkward.
Sometimes it helps though, even if you don't drink, just the idea that alcohol's there and everyone's just there for chilling.
Yeah.
Like a casual thing.
Yeah. For me, alcohol, I use it to, like, open myself up and, like, it lets the inhibitions go.
Yeah.
So I feel a lot more comfortable just talking in general. Not always a good thing. Sometimes I should keep my mouth shut, but...
It's like, once you get to know me, you'll never get me to shut up. So.
Yeah. So, I mean... Yeah, this is a tough one because... I don't know. I mean, too many friends doesn't ever seem like a real problem.
No, for sure.
But if you think that you just don't have anything in common with these people that she's having you meet, and maybe you're not having much in common with this chick anymore, you're not obligated to waste time on people that you're not having meaningful relationships with anymore. So
yeah,
and you can be nice about it and just slowly start, backing off.
Yeah.
I hesitate to say ghosting, but I guess that's a thing you could do if you just don't want to be friends with this person anymore, unless you think that she won't get the hint.
Yeah, maybe communication then is the first step. Just like you said, talking about it, saying, hey.
Yeah, I definitely would take that as the first step and be like, hey, I appreciate you trying to get me out of the house and, like, doing these things, but I'm trying to stay low-key right now, and I would appreciate you just kind of, like, letting me hang back, or if you want to hang out, let's hang out, or maybe even getting involved in her hobbies if they're doable and affordable.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you'll like it and you don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's the intro. Like, you start to learn it, and then you go to this group, and... Yeah,
like, I just started pottery last year, and I've been, like, trying to get people to go with me, and some people stay, some people don't, but it's just, like, a thing that I enjoy, and I know it can be expensive, but, yeah, I don't know. It's just, you never know, you might like it. Just go to it one time, and then that way you at least have something to talk about with that friend, and be like, yeah, I tried it that one time, and it's not my thing.
Yeah, well, and then you can say that you've done it, right, like you said.
Yeah, it's hard to 100% give you advice on the hobbies thing, because we don't know what kind of hobbies she's got.
It could be some really scary
weird shit, like...
Who knows?
Yeah.
As long as it's not, like, unsafe or uncomfortable, maybe.
Yeah, or too expensive. I can understand not wanting to get into a hobby if it's too expensive.
You must buy gold-plated gauntlets. We're gonna cage fight.
Cage fighting does seem like an expensive hobby, especially if you don't have health care.
Oh, oof.
Right?
Dangerous jobs.
I hope that kind of helped you out. So, sassy topaz, sassy lemon person.
Is there such thing as a lemon topaz?
Lemon topaz? Probably.
I'd
buy it.
For sure. Make it someone.
Especially if it smelled like lemons.
Ooh.
Citrusy rock. I don't know.
Yeah?
Yes.
It's better than smelling like dirt.
I like the smell of dirt.
I actually have a perfume that has, like, dirt notes and, like...
Earthy.
Musky earth.
Ooh.
It's like a Joan of Arc perfume.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I just wear Bed Bath & Body Works.
Whatever you like, as long as you don't get migraines from it, you're good. Like,
yeah. I've had allergic reactions to perfumes in the past. I've broken out.
Yeah. Well,
and it makes
me sad. You don't know what's in them. Like.
Yeah, my mom and me both are kind of sensitive to perfumes, so we try not to use them too much.
For sure.
But mostly just when they touch our skins and it just, like, breaks out, and I'm just like, great. Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah. At least I smell good.
That is a good. That is not a red flag. That is a... What's the opposite of red
It's flag? A red rash. That's what it is.
Oh, God.
Not a red flag. It's just a rash.
Yeah, that happened.
Okay, so we're going to talk about red flags today. And you took so many freaking notes.
I was that person
I appreciate
in high
that.
school.
I appreciate the level of commitment you've put into this show.
I love taking notes. I love writing lists. Will I finish the things on my to-do list? Maybe not, but I made that list so I can feel bad about it later.
I mean, making the list should be something to check off on the list. At the top of the list, it should be make a list. Check, I did that thing.
It feels so good to check something off a list.
Mm-hmm.
So, give yourself a win.
Yes.
Okay, so you gonna start or am I gonna start?
You're gonna start because you got so much, and I'm just like sitting here with my one single page.
We'll go off with red flag number 1. So I put down some that apply to the person and some that are like what you feel, kind of, because there's 2 sides I feel like to red flags. So this one's a person one, and that's someone who like oversimplifies or who generalizes a lot of things, and that could be like putting you in a box, like, oh, you're my art friend only, or oh, you're my negative friend, my bitchy friend, my mom friend. Like, they don't want to see you any other way, and you can't grow or get out of that damn box.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing to be in a situation of, like, I don't know, I'm sure I'm just the hot mess of a friend.
I mean, that could be a lot of things.
I don't know. I mean, I'm a garbage person, so I guess I take no offense, so.
I mean, my significant other and I call each other trash as a sign of love. So.
Yeah. Derek uses garbage fire a lot.
Yeah.
You're a garbage fire, Bree, and I'm like, yes, and I'm still burning to this day.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, yeah, they could be putting you in a box, or it could be that they just view things only in one way. Like, they'll pick a fight over everything, even the smallest things. Like, I used to have a friend who would fight me over compliments. I'd be like, hey, you look great today. And they'd be like, oh, today? Not every day? Like, I look like shit every other day?
Yeah, that's, I mean, not having a friend that can't take compliments, I mean, it depends on what matters to you. All of this is obviously objective or subjective.
Yeah,
or,
for sure.
You know, it's like everybody has different things they look for in a friend. So everybody's red flags are going to be different. You could, I mean, being friends with somebody who can't take a compliment might not matter to you, but might matter to a lot to somebody else because maybe you love giving compliments. So I mean, if you have a friend that just can't take them and turns it around and like into this self-deprecating thing, I do that a lot.
Yes,
then
but
maybe
are
don't
you
even
gonna
that.
accuse people of being malicious though? Like, is it internal or is it? Do you think it's?
I might think that sometimes. I think I'm guilty of if somebody gives me a compliment, I immediately in my mind think like, oh, they're just joking, or oh, like they're not being genuine, or they don't really mean that. They're just saying it just because like people say compliments.
Right.
Like, they don't actually mean it. But that's like my own, in my head type thing. I'm not going to say it out loud.
You're not going to be like, fuck you.
I mean, I'd like to think I could tell when somebody is, like, not meaning the compliment they're saying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like when we've talked that you've ever, like, come across as being, like, offended or, like, mean about compliments or anything, like.
I mean, I don't think I can think of a situation where that's happened.
There's the internal part of it. So yeah, it just, like, people who just, they only want to view things from one perspective, and that, this one kind of, it branches out to other problems that we're going to talk about in a bit, but just, if you can only view things one way, and it's very, like, cut and dry, because friendship is complicated. Humans are complicated. You can't take things out of context. It's, because even a statement that sounds, like, mean, it could be that it wasn't even meant that way. It could, like, there's so many multifaceted things about people that you can't assume the worst all the time.
I agree. I don't think you can just judge a book by its cover, too.
For sure.
Which is another thing I have on there. I mean, I'm probably the worst at this because I've grown to be a sassy person like Derek. We've rubbed off on each other, and I think that he's become a more empathetic person, but at the same time, I've acquired the salty bitchiness that is him as well. I've slowly started to become that as well. Not on his level. I'll never be on his level, but I'm there where I can, I don't know. It's not an admirable thing to admit, but I can be a little salty bitch too.
Oh, I feel that though. Like, it's.
And I don't know. I mean, there's something comforting having a friend or a significant other that you can say all this stuff that maybe you wouldn't be able to say to other people, like, because you'd come off as a shitty person, and I guess that makes me a shitty person. So
it's like, it's context though, again, like,
I know, but they know who you really, I mean, they know
Yeah.
who you really are, and just because you're just, like, being a shitty person in that moment and, like, saying shitty things doesn't mean you are a shitty person. Or maybe it does. I don't know.
Yeah.
Give me your opinion, guys. Am I a shitty person?
I feel like you gotta have a rant pass, though. Like, if you're on a rant and you're like, you need to vent it all out.
I know. I don't know. I have a shit streak in me. On my underwear, guys.
Beautiful
No.
metaphors.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, for example, me and him will be out in public and we'll see somebody that, like, I don't know, is dressed a certain way, and we'll just be like, hey, there's that person. We'll point them out to ourselves, not to, like, them, not to, like, be shitty that way. But we'll be like, hey, yeah, look at them. And then we'll walk away, you know.
Yeah.
But then it's not a nice thing to do. It's not a nice thing, but we'll do it to ourselves to make ourselves laugh.
See, like, I used to have a friend where we'd go out for coffee, and then we'd just see other people in the coffee shop and make up the story of their life.
See, that's more wholesome than what me and Derek do.
It wasn't always, though. There was a dark side. Like
Yeah,
that
it can
guy
get
dressed
dark.
in a suit, he liked some kinky shit. Like, you know?
Yeah,
Oh, shit, I did not mean to bump the mic.
you're good. I bump it all the time.
I'm a noob. But yeah, I mean, be salty. It makes
I'm
life
there.
more exciting.
Me and Derek, we've been there, done that. We're so salty.
You're just
So,
like,
do you want me to read one?
yeah,
Okay, we'll go back and forth.
for sure.
One that I have is, I think a red flag in a friend, maybe like a new friend that you're just starting to be friends with. If you realize that the only reason they're being your friend is because they're using you for something. So maybe they're getting free stuff out of you, or maybe, I don't know, they have something to gain, and it's pretty freaking obvious, like, that they're just hanging out with you for that one specific reason.
Yes.
I don't know. I think that's the red flag.
Have you ever, like, do you have any specific...
I don't
Yes.
have any specific examples because I don't think I've had a friend that's, like, done that for me, but...
I totally do.
Okay, yeah, use your example.
So, in college, I had a friend who, like, I was in a relationship at the time, and I had been for a long time, but he was, like, he would treat me like his pseudo-girlfriend. Like, we were friends, and we'd, like, watch movies together, and, like, but the second he got a girlfriend, I was cut out of his life completely. Like, we were, like, texting each other, like, late into the night all the time, just, like...
Oh, so he was, like, testing the waters with you, like, he had friend-zoned himself, right? Because you had a boyfriend at the time?
Yeah.
So he was just hanging in the back until he could get something on his own.
So, yeah, I was, like, a practiced girlfriend.
Or maybe he was just really lonely, and you
Maybe.
were fulfilling that need,
Maybe.
which is still using.
Yeah.
It's just...
So it's like there was a void, I guess. But I mean, he turned out to be a shitty person. So
Yeah.
I'm not too sad about it, but you do, when you feel used, it does feel kind of dirty. Like, oof.
Yeah, I don't like the whole idea of being used.
There's also like if you.
I don't know what somebody would use me for.
Well, like, I mean, like, in high school all the time, my friends would like get me to drive them places because I was the one with the car, but no one ever gave me gas money. Well, rarely.
Oh, I guess, yeah. That happened to me in high school, too. People would ask me for rides and stuff, and I would do it mostly because I was bored. I was like, I don't mind being a taxi. I did have friends confront me, though, and be like, you do know that they're just using you for a ride? And I'm all like, that's okay. I mean, at the time, my mom was paying for my gas, which is not, it's shitty for me to, like, take advantage of my mom that way. But at the same time, I was like, if they need somewhere to go and they don't have anybody to take them, I guess I'll do it. Like, I mean, I'm bored.
I got in trouble with my parents because they were...
You were driving everybody around?
They were paying for my gas, and, like, I mean, obviously, there was a point where I had a job, so I was paying for gas, but, like, my parents are like, you gotta limit this. And I think that's when I realized it was, like, a bit much. Because when people start to expect a favor...
Oh, yeah.
That's when it's just like, hey.
I have such a hard time saying no to people, though, and I have a hard time with confrontation that it's like, I am totally oblivious most of the time.
I would rather just curl up in a ball and die than...
Part of me likes being used because I'm like, at least I'm being somebody's friend today. Like,
It's nice to feel hopeful.
Yeah.
As long as it's not, if you don't feel dirty after it and you feel just like, I helped someone, I saved you because your car broke down. Like,
right? Or they just needed to go somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Okay. My next one is competition. And I don't mean like Mario Party competition, because that stuff is fun, especially when you do beer games with it. I'm talking like unhealthy comparison, or like when you have a hobby you want to get into that a friend does, and they just like, they're like, no, that's my hobby. Like, you can't. Like, just anything that's like trying to one up or be territorial.
Yeah. Yeah, I have one on there too that's exactly like that. That's the if they're really pretentious about certain things that like you find really trivial, like you just bring something up randomly and you're like, "Hey, have you seen this movie?" And then they get all passionate about it, like, or they either passionately love it, which is fine. I mean, passionately loving something is kind of cool. But, like, they passionately hate it, and you just didn't even know what you were walking into, and you're just like, oh, let's change the subject. Like,
yeah.
Or they, like, you mentioned that you just started listening to this one band, and they're like, I've been listening to this band since 2002. Where have you been? And it's just like, oh, well, I've been here, too. Like, I just found them. I don't know. I mean, and that, yeah, most of the time, I don't think people are actually like that. There's very few people out there that are pretentious about certain things or competitive about certain things, or maybe in your situation with the whole territorial thing, I think people who have hobbies that they're really passionate about tend to make it their entire identity,
right.
Which can be cool, but also if that's your thing and you're territorial about it, like you don't want other people doing it, that can, I mean, good luck making friends, I guess. I mean,
yeah.
Maybe you'll find people that won't want to do the hobby with you, but if that's your entire identity, then I don't know.
I mean, it's always cool to see people who want to share their passions rather than hoard them up.
Yeah, and I think that's also just a really rare, somewhat specific.
For sure. That one is. One-upping, though, I've noticed a lot of people will do that. Like, sometimes people...
Especially with tragedies,
yes.
or like... Yeah, like tragedies, or...
Yeah, people...
I have it way worse.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Sometimes people will try to, like, relate to you on that human level. Like, oh, I had that happen. I actually had that happen once when one of my, like, close relatives died, and one of my friends tried to say, oh, I'm so sorry for you. My grandma just died too, but this was someone that she vehemently hated, and she was trying to be like, oh, yeah, it's like, well, were you, like, heavily influenced? Like, it's like when someone's so important to you and someone's just like, well, I mean, it's hard to compare tragedy, right? But it's like there's a time and a place to empathize, and sometimes it can be kind of hurtful.
Yeah, definitely in the situation when you're trying to compare your thing with somebody else's, like, actual loss of life, like a loss of a loved one. So that could be bad. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of having done that in the past when I was, like, in high school and I had all of these friends going through tragedies and I was trying to be empathetic with them, but I had nothing going on in my life and I didn't know how to help them, so I was, like, trying to also be like, yeah, I have this thing too. Yeah. But it wasn't working, obviously, and it was a horrible thing to do. I don't recommend it.
It's hard when you're just dealing with people and everyone's got their own shit at home.
Yeah, and nobody teaches you I've already said this before on other episodes.
Yeah.
Nobody teaches you in high school how to be tactful when it comes to your friends grieving or, like, your friend's depression. Nobody teaches you how to be a good friend to people that are experiencing loss. So that's not a class you can take, sadly, which I think it should be.
I mean, because even the psych classes, they're a little too academic and not as application-based.
I mean, they might go over it briefly, but I definitely don't remember it.
I should have taken the relationships class.
I took the relationships class, but I don't really remember it. I don't know. The only things I remember talking about are, like, the important parts of an actual relationship, like the 4 different types. It's like a pyramid thing. But so I just cared about what was applying to my life at the time, sadly. So
I'm just gonna like YouTube it later and get a workshop going.
I have the notes still. I'll give them to you.
Get my self-help going.
Right. It was a good class, but
Yeah.
they're missing some things in schools, I think, that they need to help kids out with, I think.
For sure.
What's another one? The people that they choose to surround themselves with. So birds of a feather flock together type thing. If your friend, you know, hangs out with people who you probably wouldn't hang out with because of a thing, maybe this friend you just met is really cool and you guys really hit it off and they introduce you to their other friends and they're all doing heroin. I don't know. Like, I would back off. I'd be like, no, not for me, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
I mean, that's an extreme situation, but...
That, or like, just extreme negativity that, like, brings you down a lot.
Yeah, and I think not to... I don't know. I mean, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I think we all do. I think we all immediately can tell when we're going to be friends with that person or not. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, whether or not we're going to be friends with the person based on how they look on the outside, how they carry themselves, you know, the way they look at you. Like, the first time they look at you, or if they even look at you at all, I think you can tell whether or not you're going to be able to be friends with that person. It's kind of like the same concept of whether you look at that person and you would be like, yeah, I'd fuck that person. Like, yeah, it's a possibility. Whether or not you want to think about that or not, you're going to do it with everybody you see, I think. And, well, one of my teachers talked about this in a interpersonal relationships class that I took in college. He was like, you guys have already checked me up and down whether or not you'd fuck me. And I'm like, I mean, he's not wrong. He's like, and I've done it to you, so get it out of your heads now. Like, and we're just like, all right, college is real. College is so real, guys. So, what was I even saying with this? The birds of a feather thing. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that I can tell whether or not I'll be good friends with a person by just the first glance. But I always give it a chance, obviously. I walk in and I introduce myself the best I can. I'm really bad about that. But I'll hang out with them for a bit. But I'd say, like, within the first, like, usually by the end of the night that you've hung out with a person, you can tell whether or not it's going to be worth it after that.
Yeah, those situations are interesting, I'd say. I mean, I don't have a ton of them anymore because I just don't get invited to things.
You just invite yourself.
Yeah,
just show up.
Oh, God.
I know, that's why me and Derek were like, yesterday we went to go pick up my car from Hogan's, and I went and I was like, should we go inside and have a beer? And he's all like, no, because then we'll never leave for like 3 hours because we'll see somebody we know, and so let's not go in, please. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, just like vortex.
Yeah. We always see somebody we know there, and then we end up spending way too much time in Hogan's.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hogan's.
Hogan's. I went for the first time.
Yeah, I brought Nicole to Hogan's.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, it's a nice little chill bar.
It's got a cool vibe.
Yes.
They make a good screwdriver, which is my go-to drink, because everywhere has it.
Yes, screwdrivers are good.
I have a huge fear of ordering something that's not on the menu and then having to figure out something else.
I mean, they'll make anything. They're pretty good there.
Yeah, most places around here are, except no one has goddamn mint for my mojitos.
Oh, they do.
Oh, they
Brock's
do.
Or Brock's do. Brock's does, and so does Hogan's. I know that they carry herbs with them. Especially in the summer. Oh my God, Hogan's makes some really good herbal cocktails.
I'm impressed.
Like real lavender crushed into it. So tasty.
I could get into that.
Hibiscus one they did last year.
I like to feel some fancy alcohols sometimes.
They're really tasty too. Really good.
I'm sure. I believe it.
I'll take you. Anyways, it's your turn.
Okay. So you feel the need to apologize on behalf of them to other people.
Ooh, that is such a good one.
Yeah, so like I was thinking about this in the context of maybe they treat you really poorly and you're so used to it you don't notice, but other people, like, once they're out of the picture, are like, hey, that was like really messed up. They were talking, like, they were mean to you, they treated you poorly, why is this going on? And you're like, no, that's just how they are, or they had a bad day. But it's constant is the red flag part of it. I had an ex that was kind of like that, and I mean, like, obviously exes and friends are tiny bit different, but like he was always like, you know, saying rude things to people. He called one of my friends ugly to her face, like that kind of thing, or being rude to my relatives. Like when you feel like you have to defend them because it's not just them you're defending, it's your relationship with them, your friendship with them. Like,
yeah, I think that's that can be really tough. I've had a friend like that in the past too, where our relationship was weird anyways because I enjoyed being made fun of in a way because at least it was attention. So he would just make fun of me in front of people, and I'd have people come up to me later and be like, dude, he was really mean to you, like, to your face. You know, he was, like, insulting you this entire time. Like, you know you're not really that dumb. You know you're not really that stupid. And I'm like, oh, no, it's fine. It was funny. I liked it. I thought it was funny. And they're like, okay, that's fucking weird. And I'm like, yeah. He was fun.
Yeah. I mean, there is a difference between, like, joking banter with friends and, like,
but that's just how he was.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is, like, but if it's, like, they're, like, being verbally abusive and stuff, and you just don't notice anymore.
That's definitely... And sometimes you need somebody to point that red flag out for you.
Yeah, I mean, your friends can be your resource, especially because at the end of the day, they care about you. If they're good friends, I mean, I would hope you wouldn't keep bad friends.
It's hard sometimes because sometimes you're just lonely, you know?
Yeah. Well, and you just need
you
to
get
talk
used to it. You get complacent, and then all of a sudden you realize that you've wasted 5 years or something on a friendship that was meaningless.
Right. So yeah, I mean,
and that could tie back into the whole they're using you too. They're using you as a scapegoat. They're using you as a person to apologize for them to get away with their behavior.
Yeah. Definitely. A lot of these do play off of each other, and that's why it's like if you're noticing like one of these are
they're similar a little bit.
But it might not necessarily be like a red flag if it's just like you see one or two or whatever. But like if you're seeing a lot of signs, that's when you really know.
It's kind of the exact opposite of butterflies in your stomach. You're getting like the sickly, like, oh no, like, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think that you will know if the friendship is bad right away.
If you
if it takes a lot of effort to be friends with the person, that right away is a red flag too.
If you're just exhausted after hanging out with them,
or you know, you feel bad about something. I don't know.
Have you ever had like those text conversations where when you're waiting for them to respond, you're just like all adrenaline, like pit of stomach,
sweaty
awful feeling?
Yeah.
Like if a friendship makes you feel like that, like.
Yeah, I've had that. I mean, I get anxious when I'll write out letters to people from my past that I'm like, I really want to reach out to you again, but I know I shouldn't. So I'll write out something like on a piece of paper, or I'll write it out on like my phone and I'll like save it. But the entire time I'm writing it out, I'm all sweaty and like full of adrenaline, even though I'm not going to send it. Like there's part of me that wants to send it, but I know that's such a bad idea because it's just like opening the gates again for drama to be in my life, and it's just not worth it. But
print it out and burn it.
Yeah, I mean, I've thrown most of them away. I like crumple it up and just throw it away. But
I've sent one once. It didn't help. So.
No, I know. Every time I've done it, every time I have done it, it never works. It never makes anything better. Yeah. I mean, you're trying to be good and you're trying to be like, hey, what's up? But they never take it that way. They take it as, what the fuck is this person trying to do again? Like, and it's just like, oh, I just want to be your friend again. But it doesn't work because you guys aren't the same people anymore.
Yeah.
You guys are totally different.
I'll just record, like, spoken rants on my crappy microphone on my computer and, like, just rant it out.
I wish I could do that. I don't have the time or energy to do that. Although I do want to do something where I, like, this is way, way off topic. I want to, like, record my dad and my grandma and my mom's sides of their family stuff, like, their life.
Yeah.
Because they're too lazy to write it down. I've bought them things to, like, start journaling. I'm like, start journaling and, like, write down your family life so I can have it. And they're like, none of them have filled any of those things out. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to have to sit your ass down and record you.
Interrogate them, get like, a light bulb from the ceiling, flick it around a couple times.
Exactly. I'm going to have to rough them up, waterboard them.
Ooh,
Sorry, Mom.
Got a bit far.
Yeah. Is it my turn or is it your turn?
I think it was your turn because we just went over the apologizing.
Okay.
So.
I think a red flag for me is how they treat their significant other if they have one, or if for whatever reason, like, I don't know, like you see how they treat their other friends, or maybe how they treat their parents, or how they treat their siblings. Waiters is another one that's really good. Just how they treat other people in general. If they're like super nice to you in your face, and then maybe they're mean to their significant other, or like really, I don't know, it makes me uncomfortable when they're mean to their significant other, or like passive aggressive, or the exact opposite where they're super cuddly and PTA all the time. Or PDA, not PTA.
I mean,
PDA. Public displays of affection. If they're making out all the time in front of you and not giving you any attention, I'd be like, I'm gonna go away now. Bye. Or if they treat their parents poorly, I don't know, I think that's really cringy. Like, have some respect for your parents or your siblings the same way. I mean, I can understand an annoying sibling. I used to have one. But what was the other example I gave? Friends. If they treat their other friends poorly for whatever reason, maybe, like, I recently had a situation where I went to the bar after work with a coworker, and I knew that she was the type of coworker who would just constantly bitch and talk shit about other coworkers or other friends, but like be nice to their face and stuff. Specifically with just one other coworker really at my work. And so I thought she just wanted to like vent to me about this coworker. And so we went to the bar, and she invited her mom, her husband, and her friend. And as soon as that other friend left, immediately after her friend that she invited out left, she started like talking shit about her friend. And I was like, yeesh. Like that quick, right? Like she's just left and you guys are already talking shit about her. Like, I do not want to be in this. I mean, I don't want to know what you guys say about me. Like,
exactly. That's the thing. Like, I used to have a friend, similar kind of thing, but like, she was really good at manipulating you into trusting her, even though she was like the person that knew everyone's shit. Mm-hmm. And then like, you'd always feel like, oh no, I said too much.
Oh, that's my whole life.
Oh, well, I mean,
I say way too much. I am way too much of an open book.
It's, you know, same.
No, it's a problem. Like, I need to not say so much. I say too much a lot of times. Like, it's a TMI situation most of the time. And Derek will usually tell me, he's like, all right, Bree, let's just close that trap of yours. You know, I'm like, okay.
Here, have some hummus.
Drink this. Drink this, Bree, and go the other way. I'm like, yeah. So, it's your turn.
Yeah. So, like, if someone makes you feel like there's an approved version of you, mm-hmm. like, you have to filter your, like, speech or your actions around them. You're just an edited version of yourself. And that could be in a lot of different ways. The one that came to mind is, like, a lot of, like, maybe humor type stuff where you feel like you can't say certain things. You can't really talk to them that well because it's like, what am I allowed to talk about? Everything's on eggshells.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard because
we've talked about that before in the past about how we have a tendency to be different around different friends.
Well, yeah.
And how, like, we all kind of step into those shoes depending on the friend. But at the same time, it's like, after a while, what's the real you? Like, what friend can you be the real you around? And if you can't be that around a friend, then it feels, I don't know. I immediately just back off because I'm like, if I can't make jokes around you that I think are funny or that maybe other people find funny, or if, like, I don't know, it's like a, yeah, I basically don't want to walk on eggshells in front of people either. I mean, I don't want to offend anybody. That's not my goal, is to be offensive. I just don't want to be policed.
Yes.
And I know that's bad. Like, PC culture is a thing, and like, you should watch what you say because you just don't want to be a piece of shit all the time. But at the same time, I'm like, my goal isn't to offend the person. My goal is to be funny and have fun, and I think that if they're really my friend, they'll know that I'm not a shitty person where I joke about bad things all the time. Yeah. It's usually just people calling me out for being really cynical.
Well, it's context. It's context again, like,
for sure,
the
like,
intent of it. And I mean, like, with humor, it's like, if you're, you know, playing Cards Against Humanity drunk with your friends, like, that is a totally different environment.
Yeah.
I think the difference for me always is, am I choosing to be this version of me for this group of friends because these are my beer friends, these are my art friends, these are my board game RPG friends? Or are they making me feel like I have to be a certain... Because, like, if you choose to, like, only let loose with a certain group of people, that's a choice. Cool. You can be your punk raver self with your punk raver friends, but, like, when it's no longer a choice, or else they'll just stop being friends with you or something, that's
it's so tough, like, because, like I said, I just don't want to step on people's toes about things. I mean that's probably been my number one struggle with friendships as of now and in the past, is that I maybe say things that I shouldn't, and then instead of, like, just being called out, it'll either be the reply to my joke will be, oh, like, really passive aggressive, or it'll be totally tiptoeing around the situation until later on where they're like, wow, she's a piece of shit, isn't she? Instead of, like, calling me out, which I would appreciate. If I say something that offends a person, I would love to just be called out right then and there.
Yeah.
Just slap me.
Yeah,
right in the face.
You can't change or
slap
do
my
something
mouth.
else if they don't let you know. We're not mind readers.
Right.
And that's hard because it's like again, you're saying you want your friends to know you're not trying to go out of your way to be rude to them. You don't want to hurt people.
Yeah.
And if a joke isn't funny, then you just, you know that for the future. You read the room and you say, hey, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've had situations where it's just like, I don't know. I'm not going to get into specifics with that one.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, there's some pretty obvious ones for red flags, too, like dishonesty. I mean, a red flag could be... I have things split into new friends versus old friends. That would be red flags, but for the new friends would be dishonesty, pretentiousness, flakiness could be a thing if you care about that. I mean, I have a tendency to be flaky because I understand people have kids, people have lives, people have work, people have mental illness, like all this stuff like adds up. And if like, so long as they're not ditching at you on like a vacation you both paid for, or like that you paid for on their ticket, like last minute you're like, I'm not gonna go. And be like, all right, cool. I just wasted $8,000 on you, that kind of thing. Like, I mean that's a very rare situation, I think, but.
Yeah, that one, I mean, like, for me, too, just if someone is always late and their excuses are... If they're always late because they didn't plan properly.
That's
or, like,
rude, yeah.
Like, I mean, there's, like, again, there's always excuses that are legitimate, but...
But if you can beforehand, if you're already there waiting for them and they wait an hour after you've already been there to tell you, I'm not going to show up, that's rude. And that's inconsiderate. That's not just flaky. That's just really shitty of a person to do.
I don't care if someone's gonna be late, but if I'm like getting down to
tell
like,
them
10
you're gonna
before,
be late.
Yeah, just let me know. Like, hey, I'm on my way, or something came up.
Yeah.
Like,
most things that I do don't really come down to a time constraint.
Right.
So that's why I'm less of a stickler for flakiness, because most of the time I'm just like, hey, you want to hang out? Or like, hey, you want to go do this thing? Or like, you know, most of the time it doesn't require you to be on time, because it's just like, I'm just gonna be hanging out. But
if you like have to miss that sick concert because you have to go out of town and they're not at your door yet, like, yeah.
Another one that I have, and I know I just totally skipped your turn, but I really want to talk about this one because this one's really good in my it's on the new friends list too, which is their social media presence.
Oof.
So if Derek had a really good example he was telling me about earlier, where he had a friend who would always come out and hang out with them on a Saturday night. They'd all hang out, and then he'd go home early, or he'd go home and immediately get on Facebook and said, I just spent another Saturday night alone, and somebody finally called him out on it. They're like, dude, you were just hanging out with us. You weren't alone. Or, you know, like, if you post really vague, passive-aggressive statuses on Facebook about people, and you're like, was that me? Like, you know, you don't want to hear that.
Oh my god, vague booking hurts. Vague booking hurts.
Right? Okay, and then there's, the social media presence. Maybe you don't have one at all. Like, that's fine. Like, having no social media presence is pretty cool, I think. Or, you know, maybe you're constantly posting politics 24/7. That might be a red flag for a person. That'd be kind of a red flag for me.
I might be guilty of, like, liking posts, but I don't ever know when people are seeing that in their feed.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just saying, like, if your entire existence on Facebook is political shares, like, I don't know.
Let me tell you a lesson from the granny who used to have dial-up. I mean, we're not that old, but, like, we knew dial-up, right?
Yeah, I knew dial-up.
It's not worth it to fight politics on Facebook.
No.
It's never... Facebook isn't worth it.
Facebook is never worth it.
Let it go.
Rest in peace, Facebook.
Yeah, it's, you know...
It's on its way out, hopefully.
Was MySpace as catty as Facebook? I feel like it wasn't.
MySpace was not. It was mostly just creeps.
But
I remember just a lot of guys, like, just trying to creep all the time. 100% creepiness.
The good old creepidays.
Right? Yeah. So social media presence. I think that if you have access to their social media, like maybe you add them on Facebook and you can see what they've been doing. And if you aren't annoyed by what they post or aren't annoyed by that, or maybe they don't post at all, like, I think that that's a really good, pretty general red flag if you're not okay with the things that they post.
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Or how often they post, or like you're like seeing them. If they're always doing things online, maybe that means they're constantly on their phone, and so that means like when you're hanging out with them, they're always going to be on their phone, and maybe that's a red flag for a person. Like, hey, can you put your phone down and like talk to me?
Yeah, it hurts sometimes when you're with someone and all they're doing is at the phone. Like, I get like an anxiety thing where I'll be on my phone.
Yeah, like, I'll do it too.
I had friends who would just zone me out. Like, I'd try to include them in a conversation, and they'd be like, huh, yeah, okay.
Yes.
And they're watching anime on their phone, like, okay.
I know. I don't understand how people could do it, because I feel so rude when I'm on my phone.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'll like check and see if I got texts and stuff sometimes, like, just to see what's up, but like...
I have to be really, really uncomfortable for me to not care that I'm on my phone while people are having a conversation.
Like, I always assume that they're, like, texting someone about me, being like...
I'm just on Reddit. I'm just looking at memes.
Do it. There's a corgi subreddit that I get on where it's just happy corgi pictures.
There's a Pomeranian subreddit, too.
Oh, my God.
It's
I did
cute.
not know this. I mean, I should have.
There's subreddits for everything.
Yes. Be careful.
Yeah. Exactly. Be careful.
I can think of like 5 right now that I've...
Yeah.
We shall not. The subreddit that shall not be named.
Yes.
Okay. So, my last one that I had, because I have a ton, but I narrowed it down to categories, is just drama in general, but, like, you know, maybe they've always got shit to talk about someone. You always feel like they're telling you things that you shouldn't know, like, especially, like, I feel like people do this with, like, sex life and stuff, or, like, like, they'll be like, my friend got an STI, and it's like, whoa, that's
their information,
like,
not yours.
Like, stuff like that that's, like, it's not necessary to know, because it's like, yeah, people telling secrets, it makes you feel close, because it's like, ooh, I got a secret, but if it's not your secret, shut up, Becky. Like,
oh, man.
But yeah, like, this, like, maybe this kind of person, like, they'll be like, I hate drama, but I'm always in the drama, but I hate it.
And it's like, well, why do you think it's always there for you?
Yeah, or...
Maybe it's because you were bringing it with you.
Exactly, like, if everyone in the world is an asshole, maybe it's you.
Yeah.
I'm an asshole for hitting the mic.
No, I do it all the time. I get it, though, because, like, I like, that goes with the oversharing thing. I don't really have secrets. I don't try to keep secrets because I'm, in a weird way, paranoid about somebody using a secret against me. So I'm just super open about everything because I'm like, if everybody just knows all the nasty things I've done in my life, maybe then I don't have to feel bad if somebody tells another person about it because I've already told everyone. So that's where my thing kind of fails. It's because it's like TMI, but at the same time I'm like, hey, I've already told everyone about my secrets. Like,
that just like reminds me of one of the Office episodes where there's a stripper and she's like, secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone.
Oh, I remember that episode. I'm sure if Derek was here, he would appreciate your reference way more than me because he loves The Office.
But yeah, no, it's. I mean, that is kind of a defense mechanism of that. Just tell everyone everything.
Yeah, I'm there.
But then you look at their face and you realize, oh, I went somewhere and it was not a good experience for them.
Yeah, I think Derek's the only one who's, like, actually, in my life, called me out on TMI, please.
Really?
Like, he's been the only one in my life that's, I would say, been nice enough, if that's the right word. I mean, he's never nice about it, but he's, like,
enough.
nice enough to tell me, Bree, nobody wants to know what you just said, so next time you're telling it to somebody, don't. Just don't say it. Just don't. If you think about saying it, don't say it. So.
It's good to have people that are just going to be real with you like that.
Yeah. And then sometimes it's hurtful because I'm like, I don't care if everybody knows about this. And he's like, yeah, but I'm pretty sure everybody else does care that they know. They don't want to know. Yeah, because I didn't want to know Bree, and I was like, oh, okay, I see how it is.
The tough love, harsh truth.
It works, though. I appreciate the honesty and the bluntness that he has sometimes.
No, it's like, I have had so many people in my life who just, like, tiptoe around things, and, like, I never know what's wrong. It's just like, just tell me.
I know.
Cut out my heart. I want to see it.
I know. I've lost so many friends because they just ghost me, and I'm like, what happened? Where'd you go? And they're like, well, you aren't my friend anymore because you're an awful person. I'm like, okay, I don't not believe you, but could you tell me why?
Yeah, it's like,
so I can learn.
Or, just give me another reason to hate myself. Because I
please.
need more. I hate me more than you do, I promise.
Yeah. I wake up every morning and I look in the mirror. Yeah. And I just cry. I cry.
Punch all the mirrors.
I punch the mirrors, yes.
Yeah. Okay, I think drama. Yeah. But then the last kind of thing I had on that was just that one telltale thing that I've noticed, and maybe it's just this area because we've got a small population of people, but, like, if someone is like, lots of my past friends have abandoned me, that can be a red flag.
Hey, look at me, guys. She's talking about me.
I'm not talking about you. No, I'm saying that sometimes it's like people will use that as like a manipulation to like be like, oh, you're my new, like, if they drop that on you, like, with you never knowing them before, it's just like your first friend date, like, people have abandoned me and I don't have trust for, like, it's a lot.
I don't know. I guess as somebody who was that at one point, I guess it was because it was so fresh. Like, if it had just happened, or, like, I don't know. I mean, I still feel like the wounds haven't healed, but at the same time, if they're opening a conversation with that, you gotta know that that's, like, that probably just happened then. But then again, you don't want to be friends with somebody who had that just happen to them because they're going to be a lot of, I don't know, it's going to be a lot of responsibility to keep up with that friend and make sure they're okay. Not that that's a bad thing. Sometimes you've got to be that person and make sure the person's okay, but
maybe
don't let them emotionally drain you.
My, like, perspective is maybe a little, like, tinted because a lot of the people I used to be really close to, I found out were manipulating me, so I'm a little more I'm not skeptical, like, I'm not like,
you're cynical.
You are never, it's like a bit of a cynical, like, I just don't want to always believe one side of the story.
Yeah.
But that's not meaning I'm saying you're wrong, it's just like, let's be open and then get to know ya.
Yeah.
Like, what do you like on the inside?
So when you're just meeting a person, what are some topics to avoid talking about right away? Because if you're like me and you're an oversharer, I'm gonna want to get all the nasty stuff out first. So probably don't. I mean, everybody's different. If I find another oversharer, I'm gonna be all like, "Hey, I'm gonna one up you right now with all my oversharing."
I feel like that's like our jam. We're just like the sharing.
Yeah.
I don't really know because anymore when I meet new people, and maybe this is just because I'm horrible, I only meet people for new things in, like, a specific context, like, whether that's, like, hey, project working on, or, like there's always an underlying reason, so there's that main topic to talk about, but then you kind of slowly branch out in conversation, and if you're, like, feeling like you have a connection, and you, like, talk about other things, so it's, like, I don't know, it's, I guess, sticking to, like, hobbies, positive topics, things that, like, hopefully don't go negative. I mean, there's always, like you were saying, the people that go, oh my god, I hate that show, but, like, you just kind of have to, like, go on the surface, kind of see where people are wanting to talk more.
Yeah. It's hard because I feel like I'm always like a negative person too, and so I'm not in like I wouldn't say like an obnoxious woe is me kind of way, but like in a like, hey, shit is pretty awful these days, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Am I right or am I right?
But even that conversation can become positive because it's like releasing.
Yeah,
the, like,
everybody's just venting.
Release the poison.
Yeah.
But don't aim it at each other because that's when that's hurtful. Yeah, I don't know. Making friends is like a skill I am very, very weak in.
Same here.
My skill is in I don't know, talking to myself. Like, that's
talking
why I have,
to animals.
Yes, animal conversations.
Yes. I like talking to my animals too. Yeah, friendship's hard. I think that I have a tendency to focus on the negative when I meet somebody who I don't click with too. Because I'll immediately, I don't know, I can kind of tell when I'm not going to get along with a person right away because, I don't know.
I mean, it's just like past experiences.
Yeah, just, I'm not going to get like super specific.
Well, I mean, it's like theoretically with dating, like if you've dated a lot of people, you know what you're not looking for is what I've heard. I don't know. I've barely dated anyone, so, but I've heard that like that's a thing. Is like you
Dude, relationships are the hardest thing. I'm so glad we're not a relationships podcast.
That would be a whole
there's for one, there's so many out there that it'd be hard to compete with. But at the same time, like I'm getting married, so I'm out of that game. Like,
oh yeah, correct.
And you're married.
I'm married.
So
I just got married.
Yeah.
I still forget to call him my husband.
I'm gonna be so relieved when me and him get married because then I can call him my husband.
Yeah.
Because I hate the word fiance, and
it
calling him my boyfriend sounds insulting because he's not my boyfriend. Technically, he's my fiance, but I hate the word fiance. So
it looks weird when you write it out. I always think it says finance.
Yeah, I don't like saying it because then everybody gets all like, "Ooh, you're getting married," and I'm like, "Yeah, where have you been?"
Well,
yeah.
I love how like the engagement thing is like a doorway into asking you about your life.
I know. I'm like, I really don't want to talk about my wedding.
No, when I got engaged, I didn't tell people at my work for a couple months just because I didn't.
Dude, my boss just found out this last month. I've been engaged for over a year now, and I was like, hey, I need this week off in June. And he's all like, why are you going to Europe again? And I was like, no, I'm getting married. And he's all like, oh, congrats. And I'm like, yeah, I've been engaged for a year and a half now. And he's like, oh. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I wasn't going to tell you until I absolutely needed to. I didn't know you were going to ask me what I'm doing. Like,
well, yeah, for me, it's like if it didn't naturally come up in a conversation, I wasn't like throwing my ring in everyone's face.
I know. I'm not the type of person who's like, oh, I'm getting married.
I didn't even have a ring for the starting part of it, so it was just like.
Well, yeah, because you proposed.
Yeah, I did.
You did propose.
Fuck gender roles. No. No, it's just it's like do what's good for you. It's 2019.
Do whatever you want.
Do what fits for you, and I don't care.
Or doesn't fit.
Or all of it. If you're into not fitting, I don't. God, no. Sorry.
Wear things that are too big for you. That's what I do. I love baggy
sweaters. Stuff. Yes.
Baggy t-shirts, baggy sweats. I wear all of it.
I steal all of my husband's clothes because they're comfy.
All right. I'm going to say my last little thing about... So I had my list of stuff for new friends, and I have a short list of things for old friends. Like red flags for old friends would be... maybe they have a drug addiction. That's a red flag. If they all of a sudden start having a drug addiction, could be a red flag because even though you want to be there for them and help them out if they want the help, things could start getting really hairy on your end because they might start stealing from you. All that kind of stuff. All the things that come with drug addiction or alcoholism sometimes.
That's a complex one.
It is. Most of these, in these situations, Derek was like, I would still be there for the friend to the point where if they're stealing from me, obviously I'd have to cut them out for a bit until they get their shit together. The next one, I have, if they joined a pyramid scheme or all of a sudden started becoming really religious to the point where they're hassling you all the time. And he's all like, yeah, I don't think I'd cut them out if they were religious and trying to sell me their religion all the time, but I would definitely block them, unfriend them, and, like, get them out of my life if they were trying to sell me a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, Like, don't turn our friendship into a transaction. Money and friendship is a bad thing.
He said he's had friends on Facebook who started doing, like, the weight loss pyramid scheme type shit, and they target him because he's like, and he's called him out. He's like, are you literally trying to sell this to me because I'm fat? Fuck you.
That's
like,
so rude. Like,
I mean, like, and they're always like, oh, no, I'm not trying to sell it to you because you're fat. Are you offended? And he's like, yes, I'm offended. And they're like, do you not like me anymore? And he's like, I just can't talk to you for a bit, so I'm kind of going to block you for now. Sorry. Like, don't come at me with this weight loss shit knowing that I'm, like, fat. Like, it's rude.
I don't want your quality leggings. I don't want your weirdo ladies' night sex toy parties.
Right?
Like,
I know I've been invited to everything like that, and I never go because I'm like, I don't have money for that. I'll just order it online.
Yeah, I do my own research.
Yeah.
Alone in my pajamas at home, it's fine. It's better that way for me.
And the last two I have would be hoarding. Like, if you have a friend that's like a hoarder or like that has a problem like that, I don't know, I guess that could be a red flag. But not really. I guess you could, I mean, you don't have to hang out at the person's house ever.
That can become a thing, though.
It can, like...
Fighting with people over where you hang out. I've had that.
Derek said, he's like, if I had a friend that all of a sudden I came to his house and I realized he was a hoarder, I think that would be just an excuse for me to sit him down and talk to him and be like, what's going on? Like, what's going on in your life? Why does your house look like this? Like, something's wrong.
Yeah, you gotta be a bro.
Yeah, and then the last one I have on here is your friend starts going through a midlife crisis. And Derek was like, I would just use that as an excuse to make fun of them. And I'm like, yeah, that seems like you.
It depends on what kind of thing.
Yeah. He's like, if one of my friends bought a fancy car, started wearing cut-off shorts, like cut-off jeans shorts, and dyed their like frosted tips of hair, and like started wearing puka shells all of a sudden, I'd be like, go back to 2001, you jerk off.
Is it, if it's Halloween, that could just be a great costume.
It could just be. Or it could just be like they're really, really into NSYNC.
I mean, you know, people have done less to commit to a costume than buy a car.
It's gonna be May.
Oh my god.
March, April. No, it's not gonna be May anytime soon.
I always forget what month it is.
Yes. Yeah, it's March. I only remember this because I'm counting down the months to when I cannot be at my job anymore.
I was just gonna say Game of Thrones, but...
Also Game of Thrones, yes.
Season 8.
Okay, let's play, a game. Unless you have more. You have more, I think.
No, I actually got through all of mine, and there are lots of notes, but I think that all of that is just psychobabble. Me.
Psychobabble? Okay. The game is right there. Both those boxes. There's some cards on top of it if you want to grab them, too. Like, in between them, but...
Sandwich of cards.
Yes.
Carefully.
I'm gonna turn the music on.
Carefully hand these to or set them on the table. Gosh. I can't words right now. Do you ever get that where, like, you're moving and you can't talk at the same time?
Yes.
That is my life. Okay. So, which of these are we... Oh, you're good.
Okay, we usually do both of these games because they're fun.
For sure.
Sorry, Sadie.
We actually have that game too, so.
Yes. It's because your husband is a fan of Funhouse just as much as my future husband is.
We have the expansion packs.
Nice.
They don't fit in the box though, so it's kind of a pain in the ass.
You guys need to make bigger boxes.
Well, you know, when you go to conventions, it's like they'll sell it at a discount for the whole thing. Might as well.
Right.
Gotta get that deal, baby.
Okay.
I'm just like Elise.
Shout out to Elise.
Elise Wilms, man. She's my icon.
She's
like,
a hottie.
Elise and Barb are like who I aspire to be.
They're funny. And cute. Cute and funny.
Aren't they both Canadian?
I don't think Elise is. She might be. I don't know. Derek knows these things.
You know,
I don't.
We haven't eaten yours yet. We should totally do that.
Let's do it after we.
Oh, okay.
Because these are gonna be hot.
I mean hot seat.
Yes.
Everything's hot today.
Yeah, we're spicy. We did the spicy stuff because we thought it'd be clever, like red flags. What else is red? Hot, spicy stuff, right? Meh.
Yeah. I mean, at least they didn't put like actual flags that are red in the cake mug. That would have been. I sometimes take my puns too far.
It's alright.
My visual puns.
Okay. Do you want to do hot seat first or $1 million butt?
Let's do hot seat because that's the one I have not experienced yet.
Okay. What would you do, or what would you enjoy if you were willing to just try it? What do you think you would enjoy if you were just willing to try it?
You know, I have thought about doing roller derby in the past, and I think because I used to love roller skating. I used to go to the rollaway in town all the time. I feel like that could be fun because
it was pretty fun.
Yeah,
I've done it before briefly.
I feel like it would be because like I used to play like really aggressively in basketball, so
it can be a little expensive. Like again with the healthcare thing, and also with the equipment can add up pretty quick. But if you enjoy getting rough, if you enjoy going fast,
that's the thing I've always like been anxious about though, is like
the roughing up part.
Getting hurt.
Yeah, I think I only took one bad fall and got a huge bruise on my butt, but it was fun.
It's like a war wound.
I only stopped going because I had to travel for it, and it was from here to Pullman, and it was just too far.
Yeah, it gets expensive after a while.
Well, not only that, but it was during the winter, and I was like, I can't make it, guys. I don't want to drive in the snow.
That can be. The drivers on that hill are awful.
Yeah, it's just really scary up there, too, driving in the snow.
For sure.
What would I enjoy if I was willing to try it? I'm pretty dang sure I would enjoy bugs. Eating bugs.
Really?
And I've been meaning, I actually just bought, I hope Kaitlin's not listening to this, but I bought some cricket chips offline that are made from crickets, and I got the barbecue flavor and the cheddar flavor, and I'm really super excited to try them. I got some enough for everyone, so that way we could all eat them here, and I'm super excited. Because I think bugs are probably one of the underutilized sources of protein in America, because we've stigmatized eating bugs. And I don't want to eat live bugs. I'm not saying I want to eat live bugs. If they're dead and like shredded and don't have a face, I'll probably eat it. But
yeah,
you know.
No scorpion suckers for you.
Yeah, I can't do it if they got a little face. The next question is, what question would you refuse to answer in a truth or dare?
I mean, it depends on who's asking it, but in general, anything like private about my relationship.
Like sexual?
Well, yeah, because I have a big problem with sharing things when the other person involved can't say, hey, this is cool or not.
Yeah.
But that's
like, because it's like Mason wouldn't be there to be like, hey, that's not cool, don't share that.
He's pretty open about stuff, but I like to be considerate about people.
That makes sense.
Because, like, stuff happens. That's weird.
Yeah. That's really hard for me as an oversharer. But I would probably have to say finances. I don't like sharing finances.
Yeah, that one.
I wouldn't want somebody to be like, hey, how much money do you make? Or how much debt are you in? And I'd just crawl up into a ball, like curl up into a ball in the fetal position and just be like, start crying.
Like,
that answers your question.
Yeah. Just surviving.
I'm surviving at this point, yes. And having to plan a wedding is so fucking stressful. Yes. I don't recommend it. Just elope. Everyone just elope. That's what I recommend.
What if they can't elope?
I know. That's what Derek's situation was too.
Oh, I was trying to be funny, but.
Oh, I don't know. Cantaloupe. Cantaloupe.
That was not even. It didn't
Yum.
Even. That was even bad for me. I'm sorry. I apologize to your viewers.
It's all right.
They'll never ask me back because of my bad puns.
They're so used to bad puns on here or bad jokes because of I'm the bad jokes person. Okay, so now we're gonna do the Funhouse game or the Rooster Teeth. I guess it's Rooster Teeth. $1 million, but whenever you are unsure of where your keys are, you become sexually attracted to a random animal.
I couldn't do that. I lose my keys way too much.
I'd like to think I know where my keys are, but I have too many animals to worry about, so I'm gonna go with no.
I mean, couldn't you like do a loophole of like
always having your keys on you?
Keys to you, like with a waterproof chain.
Yeah, or always hire somebody to know where your keys are at all times because you have $1 million. So
yeah, There are ways around it, but I'm not taking that risk.
Yeah, I love my animals too much.
Yeah, it's just...
I mean, not in a not sexual way.
I mean, like, do what you want, do what makes you happy, but, like, that's...
But don't fuck animals.
Yeah, that's, like, one that no one can agree that
they can't consent, guys.
No, yeah.
Their little tiny brains can't consent.
I guess it doesn't say you have to
have sex with it.
But that's...
It's a risk I'm not willing to take. Yeah. Alright, $1 million, but whenever you feel relaxed, your food comes to life and won't stop trying to kill you until you've swallowed it.
See, I feel like I would take that just because I never relax.
It tries to kill you, though. Your food tries to kill you every time you're relaxed. Imagine, dude, all I try to do is relax.
I mean...
I'm in the shower.
True, I guess.
I'm in the shower, and then all of a sudden, I'm surrounded by, like, leftovers that have crawled out of the fridge, and they're, like, just trying to kill me with, I don't know.
I feel like you feel more alive, though, every so often when you have this, like, life-threatening situation. I want to feel that livelihood. I want to be alive.
I mean...
I'm taking it.
At the very least, I could make more money off of it because I could put a show on. I'd be like... Oh, come watch me relax while this food tries to kill me. But it's like, what could a food actually do to you? Are we talking like sausage party type shit where they're sentient and can hold things? Or is it just like they're sloshing their way towards you slowly?
I feel like this would make you never have anything in your house. You'd always just like eat food and then like, but you'd like do it while running, so you're always anxious.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just have someone, like, list off all your flaws as you eat.
I guess, like, what's their definition of relaxed?
Because if you're relaxed while eating and it's in your mouth and it comes to life, that's...
Oh my god, that's scary.
Make yourself intentionally more anxious while you eat. And then
I would be anxious.
And then otherwise, never see food. Never be in food.
I don't like this one because I like being relaxed when I eat. I'm not gonna, like...
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy the thought of having a life-threatening situation every once in a while.
Living on the edge. Nicole, living on the edge.
I don't take any risks. Give me one for $1 million.
Okay. Well, fair enough. And like I said, you could sell it as like a show. Be like, come see this food come to life and try and kill me, guys.
That content.
Yeah.
Get that coin.
Yeah, I mean, you could charge people $20 a ticket to come see this food come to life to try to kill you.
Do a live stream, and then people can donate more money to suggest what weapon you get to use.
Right. Yeah, I like it.
I feel like you could get pretty buff doing that, you know? Working out. Gotta...
Always carry, like, a sushi knife on you. Or a fork. I don't know. I feel like I'd get fat really fast because my number one way to get rid of the food would be to eat it. To, like, defend myself against food would be just to eat it.
There's a lot of layers to all of these.
But also, as soon as it's trying to kill you, you wouldn't be relaxed anymore. So
does it just die?
It just dies right there?
It reanimates and dies and... I don't know.
The number one hard thing would be to sleep. If that is considered relaxing...
Yeah, that is true.
Then how do you sleep?
So, like... I think you might just end up dying.
Yeah, you'd probably be dead eventually.
Because there's no
You'd
way to
spend
really
all your $1
sleep.
million trying to keep yourself safe.
Yeah, you just like... I've changed my mind. If you can't sleep, then...
Right? I mean, it's kind of relaxing to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I can't be anxious while sleeping. That's why I don't sleep for hours.
Or get, like, a bunch of dogs, so every time you go to sleep, you have dogs around you that would eat the food that comes after you, because you know that those dogs are going to smell that food and be like, rah, 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 rah. I know my dog would. She'd be like, oh, sweet, free food.
I mean, I want to have a legion of corgis anyway.
And cats.
So.
Cats would do it, too. Cats would go after the food. I'm not sure they would eat it, but they'd, mouse around with it.
My cats would totally, like, attack it, but they get very picky. Like, I've got a cat that's, like, very prissy and will only eat, like, dry food.
But at least they might, like, squish it around enough to where it wouldn't move anymore. Or kill the food again, if it's not already dead.
It really depends on what kind of food.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want no banana trying to kill me. That would just suck. Like, death by banana.
Death by banana. I can just imagine, like, a steak coming after me, like a T-bone steak, and just stabbing me with the T-bone.
Bones. Yo,
yeah.
That's not... I didn't even think about that part.
Yeah.
I didn't think this one through enough before I answered it.
Yeah. All right. Let's call it at that. Thanks, you guys, for tuning in this week. I didn't write an outro. This was my bad, but I'm trying to do Derek's job, and I hope he's having fun at baseball. Anyways, thank you, Nicole, for being a guest host on this episode about red flags. You guys can follow us on Instagram at FrienDish Pod on Instagram, and we're also on Twitter. And you can email us your friendship questions or ask for advice, or if you have any funny stories about friendship, you can email us at friendishpodcast@gmail.com. And we are hosted through the Time Spent Poorly Network. So give them a look up. We're at www.tspn.fun. So
check them out. They've got a lot of, like, a wide variety of content.
They do. They have a lot of good podcasts coming up and coming. So we'll talk to you guys next week, and I'm gonna slowly get up and turn the music down and turn everything off, and hopefully it works. Bear with me.
Just slowly watch as we fade out of existence. It's okay.
Exactly.
Don't go towards the light.